Velina Maikako, welcome to Keep It Aloha, the best podcast.
Whoa. This is my podcast, bucko.
What?
Welcome to Aloha from Hawaii. Yeah, what are you doing if there's a zombie apocalypse? Walk me through it. Sorry.
Okay. I'm waiting my whole life for this question. Okay. All right. So first off, I just know that I'll survive.
Okay.
I know that unless it's the World War Z zombies where they're super fast and we're all dead.
Okay.
But if it's a regular like Walking Dead zombies, I think we're fine.
Okay. Welcome to the Aloha from Hawaii podcast. This podcast was inspired by Jordan Tano, who we have in the back, and the one and only Kamaka Diaz.
Keep It Aloha.
Did I say it right? Kamaka Diaz?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. It's not Diaz. It's Diaz.
With an S.
Because
Portuguese, yeah.
But he runs the Keep It Aloha podcast, and I came on, and I just loved hanging out with them and loved talking stories. And I was kind of thinking, I kind of already do podcasts. Just because I interview people for like 3 hours, but no one ever sees it. It's just me I'm like, oh, I could just do a podcast instead of just keeping the podcast to myself. So if you're seeing this, we already have a video out. I don't know what it's called yet, but it's on my YouTube. If you're seeing this, you're also probably on my new YouTube. If you're not, you can go to my YouTube and see our episode. It's going to be about Olelo. And I think that's a great place to just start this podcast.
Yeah. Oh, it's the start of my life, so I think that's
perfect.
Fitting.
Explain to me how Olelo was the start of your life.
Yeah. So, like you said, my name is Kamaka. I'm from Hilo, Hawaii, on the Big Island, small town of Hilo. Went to Hawaiian Immersion school all of my life. My dad only speaks Hawaiian to us since we were babies. So I have 5 siblings. Well, my dad has 3. Me, my older brother, Micah. I think you might have met him. The one that's married to Lei.
Yeah.
And then my younger sister, Lei. So I have a sister-in-law named Lei and a real sister named Lei. So it gets confusing. So yeah, he's not Hawaiian, but he graduated from Kaiser back like late 70s. And then he got really into church. So he started to go to this Hawaiian church and he got really into the language. So he went to University of Hilo to take Hawaiian classes while, simultaneously reading the Hawaiian Bible and talking with other manaleo like Auntie Leafy in Hilo. So basically, he just fell in love with the language. And then when he married my mom, they're divorced now, I have step-parents. They decided that they're going to raise their kids in Olelo, Hawaii. Which was something new because in the 90s, I was born in 93, or a little bit before that, like a decade before that, that's when they established the Punana Leo, the Hawaiian Immersion programs, Kekula Navio, Kalenio Pu'u, all of that. So I was like in the second decade of the Hawaiian Renaissance, the Hawaiian Immersion schools. Yeah, so like since we were babies, there's old videos of us just like Opio ano e ninja honu, Opio ano e ninja honu. Like seeing my dad would make all these cartoons that we'd watch into like Hawaiian versions for us, and he'd just make up words for in Hawaiian, like wale, he would just say like waleka and stuff.
So your pops was like the driving force of why you guys grew up speaking Hawaiian.
Yeah, and my basically my whole life up until maybe end of high school, I always thought he was Hawaiian because he looks local. He's Portuguese Japanese. He's like probably my skin color, but my mom's Haole, but she's Hawaiian Korean.
Okay.
Yeah. So my grandma, who looks like 100% Korean, she was half Hawaiian, half Korean.
Wow.
Yeah. So my whole life, I thought that I was getting my Hawaiian from my dad, but he's not even Hawaiian, and he's like the most low. He's not like Kanak kind, but he just always speaks Hawaiian. Like if you meet him, he would try speaking Hawaiian to you. He just speaks Hawaiian to everybody.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, that's a lot of work. Like not only to learn the language, that's a lot of work. And I can wrap my mind around like, oh yeah, I've been there before. I haven't committed. I don't speak Hawaiian, but the language is so beautiful. And there's songs and phrases and things that I'm like, I want to understand. And like, I want to be able to pronounce the street that I live on and not sound like a dumbass. Like I put like a little bit of time and attention.
Yeah. Like saying I'm a Haole and not Haole.
Exactly. Jordan.
Yeah. Jordan.
Or Jordan likes to call me Haole.
Yeah.
I'm Filipino.
and I find it very insulting. Haole, I'm fine with. Haole, don't. But yeah, like, so I can relate to the sense of maybe committing yourself, especially if you're like, have a reason to be speaking it and to learn it. But like you're saying, in that era, before there was, you send your kids to school to learn things. You're like, okay, go to, you know, like, that's just like crazy to take on that responsibility of teaching your kids Hawaiian.
And he's not even Hawaiian.
And he's not even Hawaiian.
Yeah.
That's wild. What do you think the passion was?
I think his faith really drove it, because of he started to go to church and get into God, and I guess the church that he started to go to was like a Hawaiian church. And then the people that he was surrounded with were like older kupunas that spoke Hawaiian. So I guess he was really interested in that, and I guess I gotta have him on my podcast one day, like talk to him more about this, because you know, I don't, as the kid, you know, you don't have too many deep conversations with your family, with your parents at times, you know. It's more just like, can I get money? Can you take me here? Can, you know, and then, you know, how you doing? I'm good. Okay, I gotta go, you know. So yeah, I have to. I mean, we have a greater relationship than what I'm saying. Like,
I understand what you're saying.
You know, we don't just take the time to really get to know our parents like as deep as we probably should.
I 100% agree with that sentiment. I've been trying to have those same conversations with my parents, or like, I haven't tried, but I was like thinking about it. I'm like, wow, I should like, I don't necessarily want to make a film about my parents. I like to keep my work and my like play like the same, but also separate. Like, I don't just make films just for fun. Like, they usually have a purpose. But I was like, I put all this, like, I know so much about these people that I interview. And I'm not saying like I know more about my parents, but there's things that I get out of these interviews. I'm like, what would my mom's answer have been to that?
Yeah.
Like, she would have taken me down a path, or like, we'll just have conversations. Like, we'll have a couple of drinks and sit around after dinner. And I still learn things all the time. We're like, I didn't know that. They had whole lives before us, which is weird.
I know. They were like our age when they had us.
That's crazy.
Younger, actually.
All of our life that has happened so far, it feels like a lot for us, I'd assume. The kids won't know none of that.
Yeah, it's once you get to your parents' age, when they have you, it gives you a different perspective. Like, dang, if I had a kid at this age, I don't even know what I do. So you're really, they're just figuring out, just like how we're figuring out life or not. They were figuring out life, but with kids.
With kids.
And what?
And your dad's just like, and let's throw teaching them Olelo into this.
Exactly. Yeah. So the foresight that he and my mom had was great. And my mom worked at a Hawaiian Immersion, not Hawaiian Immersion, like a Hawaiian office. So she was able to speak too. Yeah.
Okay. So talk to me about the renaissance of the Hawaiian language. You could start with, why was there a renaissance? Like,
yeah, I mean, the short history was, you know, the U.S. government overthrew the Hawaiian Kingdom back in 1893, and then annexed in 96, and then many years later we became a state, or a territory, and then we became a state. And then during that whole period, they banned everything: the language, the culture. You couldn't dance, you couldn't chant, you couldn't teach Hawaiian. So we hear a lot of stories of our maybe great grandparents, depending how old you are. Like, they would get beaten for trying to speak the language, or they would go home and they would want to speak it with their parents or grandparents, and they wouldn't teach them because they didn't want to get in trouble. So everything just began, everyone just assimilated towards American culture. So I think in the 70s, 60s, I got to get my years correct, but you know, they started the Merry Monarch, the hula competition, and then in the 70s, I think that's when the renaissance of the Hawaiian language began. It became an official language of Hawaii. I think it's the only state with 2 official languages. And then but they made it an official language, but you still couldn't teach it in schools. So there was this committee of a few people. They were my principals and my teachers at Kekula Navio Kalaniopuu. They took this idea from New Zealand Aotearoa called the Kohangareo, which is they had like their own renaissance because they almost lost their language, Te Reo Maori, and they took that idea and brought it here and named it the Punana Leo, which is like the nest, the language nest. So they started with preschool. They thought like this language is gonna die. We got to do something about it. So they started with preschool, and then they're like, okay, well, we need a first grade. Okay, we need a second grade, third grade. So every year they kept these students. They put in their own kids into this program, and they kept going up until there was a senior or 12th grade, and that they continued that on. So the Punana Leo, which is the place that we went to in the video, at Punana Leo Omanoa. I went to Punana Leo Ohilo, but that's usually the foundation of most Hawaiian immersion students. You go to Punana Leo, yeah, and then you go to an elementary, middle school. So I went to Kamaka Ka'el. Then that only went up to 6th grade. So I went 7th to 11th grade at Kikulo Navio Kalenipu. Yeah, so that's kind of like the timeline. And in the like late 80s, that's when they had all the Hawaiian immersion schools, public charter schools. Yeah, and then I started going in like the 90s. Yeah.
How do you feel that that's changed the way you see the world?
Well, I think just with the values that they instill with us in us, and it's funny because I go through life and I do certain things, and even though I didn't like being in the Hawaiian immersion program, like I left my senior year to go to Kaiser to play sports because I wanted to do what all the normal kids was doing. You know, I didn't want to speak Hawaiian, I didn't want to hula, I didn't want to ole, I didn't want to sing Hawaii Pono I, all 3 verses, and Kawe Kavet, well, yeah, all that stuff. But you know, all the little things that they taught us, like respecting your elders, treating each other like family, working hard, even discipline. Like we'd have to stand and ole and do all this protocol before we even start school, and like sometimes we'd have to stand out in the sun so long waiting for certain protocols. So it really instilled in us discipline. And then small things like if you were sitting on the floor with your legs crossed like that, if you were to step over somebody, they said no, go back, and then walk around, because they said like you taking their mana. So like stuff like that, and even like having a good lavena, like a good attitude when you do stuff. Because when we had to hula, if you were in a bad mood, if you're kind of moody, kind of giving the teacher attitude, they would say just sit on the side. Like you don't bring that into the halau. So stuff like that, like do everything with a good lavena. So all those little things, and even like preparing food and working in the mala, like I said, I didn't like these things, but I had to do them. And unknowingly, it made me who I am. Plus the foundation I had at my house with my dad and mom, teaching us, raising us with Hawaiian values. Yeah. So yeah, I would say like my whole kahua, my foundation is all from Hawaiian immersion, and it's all Hawaiian based. Because like, yeah, I'm Korean, Japanese, Portuguese, but we don't really do anything. Like I eat kimchi, you know, like basically all I know the culture is Hawaiian. Yeah.
That's special.
Very blessed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not I mean, it's not typical. It's not normal. Like you don't, like you said, I wanted to be like the normal kids.
Yeah.
Like it's not, unfortunately, it's not like a regular, you don't meet a lot of kids that grew up speaking Olelo in the household.
Yeah. Even to this day, it's still rare. Like they would have the mana leos, which are the people that like grow up speaking Hawaiian. But like the kupuna kind. But we were one of the few families that our parents only spoke Hawaiian to us. I think there's maybe like 1 or 2 other when we were at school. There's probably a lot more now.
That's cool.
But yeah, I tell people all this. I was embarrassed. Like I was like, my dad would speak Hawaiian to us in public, even at our soccer games. He'd always cheer for us in Hawaiian, and we'd be at grocery stores, and he'd be talking to us like, "Hey, come on, blah blah blah," and he'd be asking me stuff, and I'd be like kind of ashamed to respond or like answer quietly, because I didn't want people to hear or wonder like, what are they doing or what are they speaking. So a lot of times it was kind of just like, oh, I know, you know, stuff like that. Yeah.
Were you a shy kid?
I think because my school was so small and you had the same people every year, my only like outside interactions with the world was through sports. soccer, football, stuff like that. So I would get a lot of social anxiety going and meeting, like going outside of my world, my bubble. So it wasn't until I moved to Kaiser in my senior year, I really just like, I went from a school of 100 students from kindergarten to 12th grade to a school of about 1,000. So that was like, and I moved here by myself. So I think that really pushed me out of my comfort zone and helped me grow. But yeah, I wasn't shy. I mean, I was always friendly, nice, smiling all the time. People always say I always smile. So I was always like that. But, you know, I think I was always good at faking it.
Yeah.
Like I remember times in high school and like even early college where I get like so much anxiety. Like I start sweating and I have to go to the bathroom and like kind of like pat myself off, or like at a party and go off to the side, take off my shirt, like make sure nobody's like looking at me, and I just feel like so nervous sometimes. Yeah. And like my mom too, she it's funny because I like to be independent and do stuff on my own now, but even going to the mall to like look at clothes, I'd always make my mom come with me because like I just didn't want to be alone and be seen like doing something alone. It's so opposite of who I am today. Yeah.
That's super opposite of who you are today, because you just talk for a living.
Yeah, exactly. But if you think about it, it's still not in crowds. It's one-on-one conversation, which is I feel more comfortable. I still don't like going out in big crowds because yeah.
What do you think it was? Why was speaking Olelo make you feel uncomfortable?
Well, because it wasn't cool back then.
Yeah.
Nobody was doing it. When I left in 2010, there was 100 students from kindergarten to 12th grade in the entire school. And then when I got back from Madagascar in 2019, my brother was at that school. There's about 500 students. They had to extend the school. They had to put in new trailers for classes. So it was just the movement gained a lot of momentum. And like social media, right? There wasn't social media when we were growing up. So it's like, oh, that's the Hawaiian kid, like the kid who speaks Hawaiian, or the Hawaiian Immersion kid. And I always thought I was like the weirdo, because we're coming from this small school and we would come late to practice because we have to drive so far and whatever. So I don't know, it wasn't something that was said out loud, but it was just something that I always thought like I was the weird kid that spoke Hawaiian. Where now it's like everybody wants to speak Hawaiian, right?
Yeah.
It's like a superpower. It makes you cool. Yeah. So yeah, it just wasn't like that back in the days. And I didn't know the importance of the weight it put on us, you know, just have that kuleana of perpetuating the language. Yeah.
That's a heavy weight.
Yeah. So it wasn't until I was older I really understood it. Yeah.
That's like not cool, but it's kind of cool. Like like the first episode of this whole series, I'm breaking down like my story for people.
Yeah.
And it's like about how I feel outcasted and uncomfortable because of my skin color. And I feel like I'm the only one. So it's interesting that you're on the exact other side of the spectrum feeling the same way.
But I'll tell you, so like my school is like all like people would view as like, you know, all the Kanaks, you know, and there's people who are like looked Hawaiian or like seen more Hawaiian. And so when I would go out to like outside of my school, I was just like, oh, that's the Hawaiian kid. But in school I was like, oh, that's the Asian kid. You know?
Yeah.
Like my friend Kimo would always be like, DS, you're so Asian, or like Japanese, or I forget what they say, but like I always looked as like the Asian kid. So like I never felt like I looked Hawaiian, and I was like fair skinned unless I was in the sun a lot. So like I never felt like I looked Hawaiian. Anytime I grow a little facial hair, I'm like, oh, you Mexican, DS, you know? Because we had 3 Kamakas in our class, so that's why they go by DS, Luis, and Jose. So everybody called me DS. But yeah, it's like I never.
Wait, how big was your class?
We had like 15
and there's 3 Kamakas?
Yeah, I know. Crazy. What are the odds of that?
That's funny.
But yeah, when I think back to that time, it was a great childhood, great education. But yeah, definitely is somewhat of an identity crisis. Because yeah, we had the language, but I liked sports. I liked video games. I didn't like being in the lo'i. I didn't like doing all this Hawaiian stuff. So I never felt like Hawaiian. Yeah. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, there was my Brian, my DP for the project, for the Law from Hawaii series, the videos. He, like, my MO for like people like looking in, I think a lot of people, especially in the beginning, I'm just telling all these Kamaka stories, and I did it like they're just like, oh, that guy just wants to be Hawaiian. And so he hit me with the question of like, do you ever feel, do you ever wish you were Hawaiian, or ever like, I don't know if that's exactly how he phrased it, but he was like, kind of like thinking that I would feel some sort of way about like being Haole and Hawaii and like wanting to be Hawaiian, or like having that same connection or feeling like I'm missing out. And I do think that it's really, I do envy in a sense the ancestral connection you get to place. That's really, really special.
Yeah.
But I don't envy the kuleana that comes with being Hawaiian. Like it's a lot to balance. Like to be, like you're saying, I'm not Hawaiian enough. I'm too Hawaiian. How do I stay true to these values that I grew up with, but also operate and function as like a member of the society that's formed today? Like it's a hard place to be.
Yeah. I think, I mean, through my podcast and through my world travels, I was able to really come into my own identity and just like stick with what I like and what makes me happy, not caring what other people think. So I feel like at this point, at 31 years old, I'm like, I'm cruising. I know that I like what I like. I don't like going into the lo'i all the time. I love it because there is that physiological effect when you're in the same spaces as your kupunas. When you're in the water and you're surfing, you're like, why does this feel extra special? Why does it feel different than when I'm driving a car through Waikiki? There is that, and I love that. But because of my travels and everything that I've seen in the world, I'm just like, we're all the same. We're human. We have all these similarities. We say aloha spirit. Some people say southern hospitality. In Malagasy, I'm like, oh yeah, they treat everybody like ohana, just like we do in Hawaii. Because we're in Hawaii, we try to elevate that, right? We put Hawaiianness on a pedestal. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, when we talk about aloha spirit, being a good Hawaiian, being all this, we're just talking about being nice. We're talking about being a good person, a good human being. So I think what I'm realizing now is like, Hawaii's not going to have a look. In 100 years, I don't know how long, our blood's going to be so diluted. You're not going to be able to tell what a Hawaiian looks like. The only way you're going to be able to tell if somebody's Hawaiian or living in the Hawaiian ways is through action. So that's why at this point in my life, I appreciate the people who live in a Hawaiian way, who has the mindset of aloha, who doesn't act like a haole, And I'm not saying white person, just somebody not from here. So like people like you, Gooch, people who don't have the Hawaiian blood that I look up, Daniel Anthony, like all these people who are just so rooted in the culture, but don't have a drop of Hawaiian blood. I respect them more than somebody who has a drop of blood and has a participation trophy for being Hawaiian, Because it's like, what are you doing for the lahui? And you don't have to be doing anything. Like if you just want to go live your life, go drink green bottles at Sandy's, like that's the kind of Hawaiian you want to be. Like, yeah. And like this gets me in trouble if I say this like on my podcast. Like, yeah, you're Hawaiian by blood, but like, I don't know. Is that honoring our ancestors? Is that honoring, the Hawaiians? So it's always going to be a controversial topic, and people are going to have different perspectives of what a Hawaiian is. But I think the general things like aloha, ha'a, humbleness, humility, lokahi, togetherness, ohana, those are like the core values of being Hawaiian. And I think if somebody, I don't know, encapsulates those, then to me, like, you can hang. I'm not going to say you're Hawaiian, but you can hang, like you
can hang.
Yeah.
So break down, you gave me the definition of like what you mean by being Hawaiian. And you're like, okay, it's not like It's you. It's like you're like where your heart's at. Like just being a good person.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is being Haole then?
I think so. I mean, if you travel the world, everyone has a term for a foreigner. Anjin, Vaza, Haole. There's different words.
Gringo.
Yeah, what is that? What language is that?
I think it's just Spanish. Gringo.
Oh, gringo. Yeah, gringo. Yeah. So all of that. So it's just basically somebody who's not from this geographic area. And it's when I guess the term got popular, it was a lot of white people coming in and tourists. So obviously I guess everywhere, right? It became known as like a white person because that's just the majority of tourists and foreigners, I guess. But to me, it's just somebody who doesn't do as the locals do. If you driving without aloha, you cut people off. I let you go across the street. You don't throw up the shaka. Freaking Haole. Yeah. And Cal Neesman, one of the best episodes of my podcast, I asked, is Haole a derogatory term? Most people think it is.
Yeah.
But it depends how you use it. Anything can be derogatory, right? I'm like, oh yeah, my mom's Haole. That's not derogatory. I'm just saying, or how like Haole looking, you know? Oh, my friend, my Sam Potter, the Haole boy, you know? I'm not saying like that in a derogatory term, but when somebody that crosses the road and they drop the shock, I'm like, freaking Haole.
It's as soon as the F gets involved.
Yeah, that's derogatory. Yeah. So it just depends how you use it. But just general, it's just like, yeah, it could be like white skin, it could be foreigner, but it's all contextual. Hawaiian's a contextual language. You know, there's so many languages that are just contextual. So it just depends. That's why we have to listen to understand, not just listen and react. You know,
good lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's I don't. When someone calls me Haole, I'm not insulted anymore. I used to be because my first I guess interaction with the word Haole was fucking Haole.
Yeah, which like, was a derogatory.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, that's not a good feeling. Like, and you're just like a kid. You're like, what even is? And I'm Haole, so I don't know what that means. But yeah, I think that it's like you're saying, it's contextual, and it's also just like it's just what foreigner meant. Like it's just the word Haole. It just means foreigner. But I do think that it has become something different now. Like it's hard for a lot of people to hear it and not think that you're talking about like the derogatory kind of Haole instead of just, oh no, it's just like, oh, the Haole guy. Or, you know, it's just.
4 agreements. Don't take anything personally. I think we got to realize too, anytime we leave our home, we're Haoles. When I was in Madagascar, I was a Haole. I was a big Haole. You know, my host mom, whom I love so much, she calls me her Vaza son. Her Haole son. Frick, I don't know. I don't think I look Haole, but you know, in that sense, with the context, yeah, I'm a Vaza. I'm a Haole. So I mean, we just gotta accept it. I think we like to label things, right? We label things we don't understand. So we like to also like put in a label to our own identity. So if I'm always thinking like my whole life, I'm one local brada, whatever, I'm not one Haole. So as soon as somebody says I'm a Haole, even my brada, even though he's joking, I'm like, I'm not a Haole. Use the Haole. You'd even take out the trash the other day or whatever. Oh, it's Haole kind things, you know, whatever. So, like I said, it just depends on the context and like what knowledge you have of the word and of the world.
Speaking of the world and Madagascar and traveling, how did you end up in Madagascar and why?
Yeah, so I went to Manoa for college, University of Hawaii, Manoa. Studied abroad in Spain. When I was studying abroad in Spain, I heard my resident director talking to some students about Peace Corps. And I never heard of it before, but I overheard the conversation. I wasn't even part of it. I went home, looked it up, watched this 3-minute video. I was just hooked. I saw you could travel, you can learn a new language, you can challenge yourself, you can help out others. So when I came back to Manoa after studying abroad, I told myself, okay, I'm going to apply to the Peace Corps in South America, So I studied abroad in Argentina, finished up my major at UH. And I was so set on just going to South America. So when I applied, you could do a preference of 3 places. So I did Peru and Costa Rica because I was like so set on just learning Spanish, becoming fluent, meeting my Spanish speaking wife, coming home to Hawaii, having Hapa kids and surfing all day, living this great life. And then I wanted to finish my application. So I was on the M section and I saw Madagascar and I was like, oh, cool, like the movie, the cartoon, not even thinking it was a real option, not even wanting to go there. I just wanted to fill out my application and send it. So I did that, and about, I don't know, a couple weeks later, whenever it was, I got an interview for Madagascar. And I was like, Madagascar? Do I even want to go to Madagascar? I don't know anything about it. And then I took the interview, and the guy told me about the similarities between Madagascar and Hawaii. So I was super interested. So I went. First day, we're going to our training site. I see kalo on the side of the road. I see greenery. I'm like, oh, it's weird. Is that kalo? Like, I'm on the other side of the world and I see kalo. So, I start learning the language. They start telling us numbers. Fitu, valu. Oh, like ehiku, evalu? 7, 8. They start teaching us vocabulary. Vava. Oh, like vaha? Mouth? Lanicha. Oh, like lani? Like sky, heavens? Oh, like someone langi? So I realized that it's in the same Austronesian family as Hawaiian. And I go on, do my 2 years teaching English in the Peace Corps, extend for a 3rd year because I love it so much. I moved to the city, work with a community health organization. And I just end up loving it. I went from the big island to a bigger island. And, it's the 4th largest island in the world. Not a lot of people know about it. But same values, respect your kupunas, treat everybody like family, be kind to everybody. So I really felt like I was at home over there. And the Peace Corps was like, that's the thing that changed my life. It made me who I am today. That's the most transformative experience of my life.
What were the values they instilled in you over there?
Confidence. I mean, you go there and you live alone in the middle of nowhere with no electricity, no running water. Like I take bucket baths, I poop in a hole outside, like I live 4 hours from the capital. I got my first surgery over there. I had appendicitis. I was 8 hours from the hospital. I got fleas that burrow into my feet and lay eggs. I gotta dig out, and food poisoning and schistosomiasis, like all these stuff. And it teaches you like, dang, if I can get through this, I can get through anything. They say it's the hardest job you ever love. And it's very true. But also just how inherently kind people are. And that's what led to me doing the Race to 50K, because I was inspired. Like when I paid off my student loans, I was inspired by the Malagasy people because they had so little. They're one of the poorest countries in the world, live off less than $1 a day. But anytime you walk throughout the town or whatever, they'll say, mandrusu, mandrusu, minambari, come eat rice. They'll always invite you in. And the thing how we do here in like America, oh, sorry, for my house is so messy. Oh, sorry, it's, we're also apologizing, yeah? They got like mud huts and brick houses and stuff all over. They never apologize for that. They don't apologize for like having a little. So, you go in, they feed you rice. Stranger, I'm a Haole walking through this town with my biking through my town with my bright blue helmet, and they just welcome you in. So it was just so inspiring to see people with so little still give. And so that as well just changed my life. And one of the other biggest things was being able to disconnect from everything. And just what you do all the time when you go out hiking and hunting, whatever, you disconnect to reconnect with the world, with yourself, with each other. Like right now we're having a conversation about social media and checking our phone and technology, and we can actually get to know each other. So that was the biggest thing. And so I just love I love the moments where we're able to just have this without any distractions, because it's far and few from the moments we have today. Yeah. So it's life-changing.
Yeah, there's definitely I kind of learned the same thing when I was traveling, of just everyone's the same.
Yeah.
It's just people. Like, we all got the same problems, the same joys, the same things we want to do, same things we have to do. You got the kind of shitty ones over there. You got the really not good people. Like you got the people to watch out for.
They're all over the world.
You got the people that you like welcome you in. Like it was just so funny to me when I would start traveling and people would talk to me like countries were bad. Oh, don't go there. Don't go there.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous. And you get there and you're just like, come in. Like, and they like pour their whole like everything they made that week into buying food to make you a meal to make sure you feel welcome in their home. Oh no, sleep here, stay here, please. Don't let this. The kindness is so global, and like I would go like any country. Like you can go there and you can just meet amazing people, and it's that contrast of you're gonna see things you've never seen before, and at the same time see things and feel things that feel like home. Just like it's that balance of like it's different. It's like the looks, the smells, the tastes, but at the core, it's all human. And it's like, it's a really beautiful realization.
It has a lot to do with you too, though, being a good guest, knowing how to be a good guest. Because not everybody has the same experience. Because you either go with expectations, you go with entitlement, you go with like, well, this is how we do it where I'm from. And when they don't do it how you want it to be done, then you're like, these people are rude. Like, these people are nice. We all have two different realities, you know?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. Some people, I've watched people do that actually. And I'm like, how could they be rude? This is their home.
Yeah.
But yeah, being a good guest is something that I learned growing up here.
Yeah.
It's just like, we just grow up humble here. Like, that can be a detriment. Sometimes we're too humble, I feel like. And but it can also be like a huge, huge benefit. And it's definitely why I feel like I'm a good storyteller. I've been able to travel the world and do so and feel like I've made friends all around the world and never felt, I mean, there's a couple situations that I got, but that was just circumstantial. Yeah. But I've had those situations here or in the real America over there. Yeah. I've had my scariest moments in America. I'm like, oh my God, this is bad. Or felt unsafe or whatever.
Yeah. And I've had moments like that where when I was in Madagascar, 2016, Trump was getting elected, had all the shootings like every month. And I was like, everyone's always worrying about me, like, make sure you're safe. Are you okay? I felt safer in Madagascar, in a developing country, than I did in America, you know?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm like, you guys is okay. Don't leave the house. Yep. Yeah. No, it's a crazy contrast.
It was crazy being out in the world when the Trump election was happening. I think I was in Morocco. Okay. Like right when he got elected. I mean, I had a few different places that I was like, well, he was a conversation. But I think like right when he got elected, I was in Morocco. And I was chasing a swell with my buddy Alex Smith. So we had like this Jeep tied with surfboards, and we're going from Morocco like into the Sahara, and like every mile we're hitting like there were security checkpoints everywhere, everywhere, like looking for terrorists or something, whatever. And every time we get pulled over, like usually they'll just kind of like flag people through, like he's probably, but we're like what the hell is going on here? Because we just got like those big surf bags, like what is going on? And then they pull us over and they'd see that we were like American looking and like, America, America. And my friend would say like, yeah, they're da-da-da. And I remember being like 50 checkpoints in the middle of the Sahara desert. And this guy learns we're from America. He's got this AK and like this like wrap on his head and these aviators. And he like takes his aviators and like looks at me. So what's going on with Trump? I'm like, dude, I got no idea. I got no answer for you. Like, funny. I really don't know. I'm just as disconnected as you at this point. Yeah. It was like such a global, he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, which we're very familiar with. Yeah, yeah. But the world, like, it was in that moment I realized how connected the world is to our politics. And I was like, whoa. Like, people care. and like it's because it affects everyone because we're like America's a global power.
Yeah, they hear all our news. Even when I was in Madagascar, my second year, I think, when the lava was happening on the Big Island, they heard about that and they were asking me if my family was okay. I'm like, how did you even hear about that?
That's really sweet.
But yeah, it's like we're almost the heart, or like everybody wants to know what's going on in America. Yeah, it's really interesting. I was in Morocco when I studied abroad. We had a trip over there, and it was the craziest thing. That was like the first time I saw, I guess, poverty in a sense, like real poverty. I mean, because Morocco's they're kind of up there, but like still had people who were struggling. Like I remember going to the market, people would all try to follow you. My friend, buy this. And like if you didn't buy it, they're like, you have a black cart. You know? And then when we were driving the bus back to the port to go back to Spain, we were in the bus and there was kids running behind us and we thought, oh, that's so cute. They're just chasing us. That's so fun. And then we realized they're trying to hang onto the bus and go under the bus so they can sneak back into Spain. Whoa. So every time we come to a stop, the bus driver will come off and like tell them get off. And so I have videos of the kids like hanging out onto the bus and like running super fast, trying to jump on it. And then when we got back to Spain, they said that they found like 3 kids underneath the bus, like trying to hide.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What are these kids just gonna go to Spain and live by themselves?
I guess I'd better than whatever their situation is. But that's the thing people don't understand. Like, yes, they had like the whole Trump stuff. People would be like, if Trump is elected, I'm leaving America. You know, all this. I'm like, no, you're not. You know how lucky we are. Even you don't have to like that we're part of America, that, you know, America overthrew Hawaii, but we got a lot of benefits that a lot of people around the world don't have. And I think people do not understand that. When I was in Madagascar, like in the South, women don't even have a say in anything. You know, there's so much corruption. Yes, there's corruption here, there's corruption everywhere, but to see it right in front of me, you know, like how you have those checkpoints in Morocco. There's always like checkpoints when you're on the bus going to different sites. You know, they just slip them, bribe the police officers, keep going. There's a bandit. You can't even travel at night because there's bandits. That one of my Peace Corps volunteers, they got shot at. Their bus got shot at at night, you know. It ricocheted, it was like homemade bullets, so it ricocheted off the stuff. You know, there's crazy stuff that happens outside of America. There crazy stuff that happens here, but
yeah,
I don't know, just like count your blessings. Yeah.
I for one, I think I have a much more. There's a distaste to America in my mouth. Just growing up here, like it's just hard. Like that is something that I almost envy. In other countries, people have pride in their country.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the soccer teams.
Yeah, like they like like they have pride in that.
Yeah,
I could never relate to that because like, but I mean, I guess I do have pride in Hawaii, so I guess there's that. But it's just like, it just is different. Like I've always been a little envious of the idea of being proud of your country, and I'm also like, I mean, maybe I'm not a complainer. If I'm not going to do anything about it, I'm not going to waste my time talking about it. So if like, I'm not going to do anything about like, I don't even know where I would even start, but like, it just always seemed a little ridiculous for me to complain about like being in America or about the government if it's like, I'm not doing anything to change anything. And then I also understand that it is a blessing. Like I may not be proud of being an American and I don't feel like an American.
Yeah.
But I damn sure I'm glad I have a US passport.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. I'm really like when I'm traveling, like there's a safety for me like in having a US passport.
Yeah.
Things can go really wrong for you when it comes like that's the stuff that actually scares me. It's other governments. Our government, I mean, no government is, I don't think, a good thing, really. Like, I don't think there's any clean ones out there. But there are places, and I've been in situations where having that U.S. passport saved my ass. Because they just didn't want to mess with an American. Like, I don't want to play this game.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's problems that happen. If you got a different kind of passport, then you can have a different set of problems.
Yeah. I mean, America is the place that everybody wants to go to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a reason for that. And yeah, I feel no nationalism. I say I'm proud. I wrote about this in my book. Like, I'm proud to be Hawaiian. I'm grateful to be American, but I'm just, the pride I have for being Hawaiian outmatches everything. Because yeah, I'm Hawaiian American by nationality or whatever. You know, on our passport it says American, our license says American. But I'm Hawaiian. At the end of the day, I'm Hawaiian, Korean, Japanese. Like, that's how I identify as a person. I'm never gonna say like I'm American and I'm so proud. National anthem, woohoo! I don't even know the national anthem, you know. But yeah, I think the only thing that I'm envious is like the sports teams. You know, because we don't really have a sports team. We just back the Hawaiian kids or the people from Hawaii.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be cool if we were like Hawaii was its own country, and you know,
bro, I think so too. Yeah. I think it'd be so cool. I think I like have more of a disdain for our state than I do America. Like,
yeah.
Why? Like I know nothing. I'm a moron. I like shouldn't. I'll be speaking out of pocket on anything if I try to go into detail. But it doesn't take much education to understand that we're a poorly managed state. And I would like love to have the conversation with you of what you think it would look like if Hawaii was still a kingdom.
Yeah. Well, first, not knowing stuff isn't a bad thing, you know, because it opens you up to learning. And Socrates said the greatest wisdom is knowing that you know nothing. So I think knowing nothing is totally fine. Jon Snow knew nothing, you know. I think I honestly don't know how we're gonna get better. Housing's an issue, of course. People go in with their agendas into politics. We need people like Brenton Awa.
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
he's great. He just for the people. We need people like that. But also educated Hawaiians, people with actual PhDs in, you know, as doctors, lawyers. We need that. I don't want to do that, but we have people that are starting to do that. I think the future is bright with the Hawaiian language and with all the young generation, like our generation, the generation after us. There are people doing really awesome things and making moves. And I think with social media, it kind of puts a spotlight on certain things and unjust people. So I think because we have that, people have to come correct a little bit more. And it also acts as a tool to inspire people, like Brenton's inspiring people. I'll never run for office, but I'm going to support the right people that are trying to get to office. So until we get all like the older white people, or just people not from Hawaii or who don't really have Hawaii's best interests out of office, I don't think anything's gonna change. But I do think we're making small steps to changing it. But yeah, my biggest thing is like representation. So I don't know Josh Green, who's a mayor. Langiardi, like I don't know how they are as like regular people. Like maybe they're great, maybe they're really nice, but it's just when you see somebody who's not from here running our state, it's not very encouraging. The little kids from Waianae and, you know, Kaneohe or wherever you live, you know, you're not gonna see them and be like, I want to be governor one day. Maybe you might see it and be like, I want to be governor so nobody else like that is governor. But I think, you know, seeing somebody even like BJ Penn, you know, he was a hero to me growing up in Hilo because we didn't have many people from Hilo that did big things like that. So say what you want about BJ, but he was inspiring in a lot of ways to become a champion. The fact that he wanted to run for office and do something as a local brother from Hilo, that was inspiring. So we just need more people like that. Not me, but more people like that.
I agree. Well, I mean, you're in your own lane. You're doing what you're doing, and what you're doing is also essential. And I would love to go. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but like everything with Keep It Aloha, like when I first saw it, I was like, yes, exactly. Like we need that. Like that was like a box I didn't even know was unchecked. And then you were doing it. I'm like, That's what we need. Like we need a place where people can come and it's just like talking story. But it's not just talking shit, talking story about this one and that one and Auntie Oda and this being on the LA about this and that. And it's like really mind-opening conversations where you get to see the beauty of Hawaii and the scale of Hawaii and its diversity. Like that's beautiful. And the fact that you're doing that, it's like, go check out.
Hey, one good friend of mine said Hawaii isn't beautiful because of the ocean, the mountains, and the scenery. Hawaii is beautiful because of the people.
You know that guy. You know that guy. But yeah, it is the people. And you're also right. Like it's good to see people moving into those places of leadership. And I don't think that it should be handed to people just because they're Hawaiian. And like you were saying, like you don't believe that either. It's they like need to actually have earned that. But it's nice that it does feel like there's being a renaissance where Hawaiians are able to get to those positions now, to where it was not that long ago Hawaiians could not get in those positions.
Yeah.
And it's still a problem in a lot of places where there's just no representation. And that's crooked.
Yeah.
Because even if I know of a few things that I like can speak on of, even if that person doesn't have a traditional education, the education they've received just from being Hawaiian and being from that place is enough for them to have a say and for them to be listened to and respected. And like that representation needs to be at the table. Like I'm not saying that needs to be the only voice, but it needs to be at the table. Like where these decisions are being made, we need Hawaiians. Like it's the people that make a place. And we have a beautiful mix of people, but at the core, it's Hawaiian. Yeah. And like we were talking about Haole Hawaiian and like foreigner and this and that. And I think like the reason that Haole has been a bad thing, there's too many. There's just too many Haules.
Well, in positions of power.
Well, even just on like a low level, because it creeps in on the amount of Hawaiian.
Yeah. Well, we are the minority.
You're the minority, which like, that's the problem. Yeah. Like I did switch our topic a little bit from positions of power just to going back to that grander, but I think that's why Haole has that like eke to it, like why it's not a good thing, because the positions of like the power displacement, but also, and then there just being too many, and it's like if you crowd Hawaiians out of Hawaii, it's no longer Hawaii. Yeah.
You seen that shirt? It's like no Hawaii, no Hawaiian, no Hawaii, or like KN. Oh, like no Hawaiians, no Hawaiians, no Hawaii, Hawaiians, no Hawaii. Like, something like that.
I haven't seen
it's such a good shirt. I don't know what brand it is, but I've always wanted, if anybody knows what shirt that is, get me one.
Yeah, get him one. That reminds me of the real eyes, real eyes.
Yeah, something like that. Exactly. Yeah. It's like that.
Whatever that used to be. I swear, like everyone had that as their caption of some post back in 2000 and something.
Yeah. You know what I will say? This is really controversial. It's probably gonna make people upset. But
hit them with it.
Hawaiians complain the most out of everybody. I've gotten so over our people over the last year. I see on social media, all we do is complaining. I'm like, if you want to do something and you want to change it, then do something. Brenton Awa, I never see him complain. Every time his bill gets rejected, he just goes to the next one. I'd never seen him leave a comment on other people's social media trying to tear them down. Never see him try to leave comments, even tearing his enemy down, you know? He's just, okay, well, that didn't work, on to the next. I'm going to do it. Action, you know? Oh, we got to talk. Like you say, you know, you don't complain. I don't want to complain unless something's going to happen, you know? So I just like, it's so disheartening to see our own people complain and complain about each other. Like, And you don't see, this is one time you're like, okay, I'm not Hawaiian, I stay out of this, you know?
exactly.
I don't gotta worry about this. But guys, it's like, why are we complaining all the time? Go do something. The beautiful thing about this life that we live is we can do whatever we want. We can, well, I mean, legally and illegally if you don't get caught. But we can make the life we want. If you don't like something, there wasn't enough Asians in Hollywood. What did they do? Get more Asians in Hollywood. Now they're winning awards, you know? There wasn't Hawaiian in the Olympics. Well, Duke Kahanamoku said, hey, I'm going to go swim and bring one gold medal to Hawaii. You know, there's not enough representation in certain areas, but then that's why we got to go fill those spots. We got to go do these things instead of just complain, oh, I can't learn Hawaiian because my grandparents didn't learn Hawaiian and they couldn't teach me Hawaiian. Okay, well, people learn languages all the time. People who aren't even Hawaiian learn Hawaiian. So it's all these excuses, you know? And, you know, I come from the David Goggins camp of stay hard. So I have very little empathy for people like that. But yeah, I don't, this kind of just side note, just stop complaining and just go live life. If you want to go do something, you do it. You know, the reason you don't know a skill or a language is because you don't take the time to learn it. That's the reality of it. I've learned like 4 languages because I really wanted to learn it. You know? So take time.
I will agree with you that everyone complains.
Yeah. And we complain. Yeah. I complain all the time, but it's like just to vent kind of.
Yeah. No, you vent. I'm just, when I'm going to come in, I'm going to say, I agree with you, but I just want it to be known that I'm not saying Hawaiians complain. I'm just saying people complain.
Sam Potter said that Hawaiians complain all the time. And
he's had enough.
He said, if you don't speak Hawaiian, you're not Hawaiian. Cut this. Jordan, cut this clip.
Clip it.
Nah, I'm just at the point where I don't care. I'm gonna say what I say.
I think that I think that's great. I'm not at all
like, third episode we're already canceled. Thanks a lot, Kamaka.
No, I'm not trying not to back you up. I just, there's, like you were saying, there's positions where like this is where I don't chime in. And it just says that's not my kuleana, that's not my place. Yeah. I don't hold space in that conversation. I agree with it in the sense that complaining is not going to get you anywhere for anyone. Like, I just refuse to be a part of that culture and not the Hawaiian culture, the culture that complains about things. Yeah. It just, you're right. It doesn't get you anywhere. Yeah. And it is super unfortunate. I hate when I see Hawaiians tearing down Hawaiians. I'm like, bruh, come on.
I know.
Like, there's not very many Hawaiians in positions of power or like that have even the level of eyeballs or conversations about them for there to even be conversations about them. And you're going to just like tear them down? Like, you can disagree. Yeah. You can have that conversation.
Totally fine to disagree.
That's awesome. That as long as the goal is to build each other and you're like, okay, this conversation, I disagree with you. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, but let's still aloha. Let's come at it with aloha.
That's important. Yeah. And that's like, that's part of building each other. Because you're going to come with points and I'm going to come with points and we're going to learn something and we're going to move upward. It doesn't mean we're going to move towards agreement even, but like we're going to be building each other up. And it's just, it sucks to see when people are trying to tear each other down. It's such a weak mindset that there's like, I don't know. It's like a very like famine-y mindset of like, there's only, I don't want to see him succeed because there's only so much success in the world. Yeah. Like, I don't know where that comes from, but it's sad to see.
Haole mentality. That's Haole mentality right there to me. It's like, there's enough for all of us to eat. We can all succeed. Plus, wouldn't you want your own people to succeed? Wouldn't you want to see other people? My mindset is always community over competition. You know?
Oh, yeah.
That's how it should be because that's how it was back in the day. If you really want to be Hawaiian, think of life like an ahupua'a, you know? How everything worked together, Mauka and Makai, and we all had our roles. We all contributed. We can still do that. It just looks different these days, you know? Like, I'm not in the lo'i, I'm not fishing. doing podcasting. That's like the modern version of whatever. I don't know what that would have been in the Ahupua'a days, but that's what I'm gonna be. Maybe the communicator.
Yeah, what would you be?
Yeah, I think if like this role wasn't didn't exist, I'd probably be like a wayfarer, somebody, because I'm very curious about the world and travel and stuff. So I'd probably be like that. This in like a traditional sense, I don't know, but it could be just that weird outcast guy.
Yeah, he's the strange guy.
Yeah, who at the end of the movie actually like saves the world or something because working on some really cool project. Because I threw my boomerang in the beginning of the movie and it comes back at the end of the movie and hits the bad guy and saves everybody.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sokka coming in clutch.
Yeah.
Team Avatar, we're gonna start this podcast.
Coming soon.
On his podcast, we're gonna have Team Avatar podcast.
Yeah.
I'm Aang.
Sokka.
And you haven't met Zuko yet.
You don't want to. Zuko gets you canceled.
Yeah, Zuko gets you canceled. But we'll have him on. We'll all get canceled again.
Yeah. Hey, because like you said, when we went to eat lunch, hey, we gotta do it together.
Yeah, we gotta do it together. Community over competition.
Yeah.
And we haven't found our Toph yet, but she'll come around.
That's book 2.
Yeah. Book 2. Yeah, we're still in book 1.
Yeah.
Still
early.
kind.
Yeah.
That's crazy to think about. We're still so young.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, you tying this back a little bit to like the Renaissance and it like being cool now to be Hawaiian. That's awesome. Like, that's so good to see. Like, and I don't know if it's social media or if it's grown exponentially, but Hawaiian seemed like a rarity to me growing up. Like, I didn't see too many Hawaiians. Or, I mean, that's not true. But I didn't see it. Okay, I'm going to take that back. I didn't hear too much Olelo. Like, I hear Olelo at the grocery store now. I'll be fishing, I'll hear Olelo. I'll hear Olelo at the beach. I'm like, oh, there's like Olelo now, which is rad. And for a while, I guess it is just like really increasing, and it's not just social media because I'm hearing it in like real life, day-to-day things now.
Well, I tell people from the 70s to now, so 50 years. It's only 50 years. You know, the Hawaiian Immersion schools were only established in the 80s, 90s.
Which is crazy.
You know, it's only like 30 to 40 years. That's still so early. And the progress that we've made is amazing. So that's why I get so excited for our future.
I can't wait to see it.
Because there's so many events. Even a Hawaiian airline got all full Hawaiian language flights now. Once in a while, my sister was just on it a couple weeks ago. They went to Boston. And you see this Hawaiian language being used in like signage and stuff. Social media, news sometimes. Yeah, we're living in a great era of Hawaiian where it's really cool to be Hawaiian. But like you say, it comes with a big responsibility. So that's why I honestly don't like promote being Hawaiian that much. Like, I speak Hawaiian, but I only speak Hawaiian with my dad. I don't really do much on Hawaiian language on social media. Because to me, it's like speaking English is my first language. I don't know, it's a way to communicate with my family. It's nothing more than that. It's not like I'm using it to be cool or to gain followers or anything. So to me, I feel like I have a different relationship than Hawaiian because you know, I love the people who are perpetuating it on social media and doing lessons and sharing the language with everybody. So once in a while, I'll do stuff like February was Hawaiian language month. I'll do like a Hawaiian word of the day. But I just feel like my kuleana is different, where I don't need to like be a Hawaiian language teacher. I don't have to be a Hawaiian language social media influencer. I can just live it throughout my life, and in whatever way that looks. Like, if people like it, they like it. Yeah, so that's kind of how I fit Hawaiian into my life. Yeah, and you know, to talk crap about everybody behind their back when I'm with my siblings. Nice, of course.
That's why I wanted to learn a language.
The secret language.
That's probably why I never actually learned Hawaiian. I just attempted.
Oh, because you know, like, talk crap about people.
No, because that was the only reason I wanted to. The passion wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't porno.
Well, yeah, it wasn't porno enough.
I guess so. Yeah.
But yeah, this episode is going to be fun to shoot. We're doing the podcast first, then we're going to shoot the episode over the next couple of days. But that'll be fun, and I'm excited to learn more. Even what we just talked about right then. Like, I didn't know I just knew you spoke Olelo. I didn't know how it came into your life, and the story of your dad's pretty cool.
Yeah, all the texts that we ever have, it's all in Hawaiian.
Wow.
Yeah, and he even growing up, because strong Christian, so he made us memorize Hawaiian proverbs. So we all had Hawaiian Bibles, and to this day, every time we call before he hangs up, he's like, "Okay, what do you call it? It's like the Hawaiian proverb, the I don't know, I can't think about it right now, but like he would ask us like, oh, share a Hawaiian proverb. So it'd be like, oh, kame kalamai ko mahalo pau, kame iholo ko mamaya pau, hallelujah ko kaine le kolu pau gwe kolu. It's like you're saying the whole thing, and then like where it's from and stuff like that, like John 3:16 kind of thing.
That's here's another interesting thing that I learned like recently and just doing my own research and stuff. But I was looking into one of just the many stories that Hawaii has. And I found myself going through the Blount reports. It's like, I think it was President Cleveland sent Blount. It was like a reporter, not a reporter. Yeah, like a reporter to like come in. And it was like right after the overthrow. And the president was trying to figure out what was going on. Because although the kingdom was originally overthrown with U.S. military forces, the U.S. didn't overthrow Hawaii. It was the plantation owners that overthrew Hawaii. Yeah. Dole and like I think it was called the Honolulu Rifle Association.
Something like that, yeah.
Or maybe it was just Rifle Association. I don't know. But it was like those 14 or whatever, like, and this is what I'm getting to, missionaries that turned into plantation owners. And what I learned was, from one of the details, was how his surprise and how devout Christian, like how Christian Hawaiians were. Like, I guess across the news back then, or the word to the U.S. mainland was like, oh, this savage land, and the women there are naked and dancing around, and it's like this crazy place. And then people would get there and be like, this is like super Christian, like crazy Christian, like more Christian than Christian is for us back home. So are you Christian?
I grew up Christian. I would say, I mean, I'm more like agnostic these days, where I know there's something out there, but it's just, I've learned so much and seen so much in life. It's hard to be like, this is the one true religion. So I'm more just open to hearing everything from all the different sides, because it's like, there's no proof.
Yeah.
As much as people want to say, like, it says this in the Bible. I'm like, well, there's like 20,000 other Bibles out there and so many religions. So it's like, I think it's all good for values, you know? Be a good person, treat others the way you want to be treated, stuff like that, you know? That's like the greatest thing about religion, is it gives you like a faith, something higher, bigger than yourself to believe in. But yeah, I still pray and stuff, but you know, some people pray, some people manifest to the universe.
Yeah, same. And I'm on the same page as you, of just like, I think that's the other benefit of religion is like community. You're surrounding yourself with like-minded people that are trying to be better. I think the shitty side of it is where there's power, there's corruption. Yeah. So as soon as the church has power, you're going to have problems.
I mean, all the colonization and everything, that was all based off like Christianity.
Oh, 100%. That's kind of why what I was getting to is like, to be Christian and to be Hawaiian is like something that I didn't know. It ties back pretty far, but it actually has like a really heavy, what's the word I'm looking for? There's like a very
disconnect,
like not a disconnect, but oh my God, whoever's watching this is just like, come on, dude, get there. Cause it's such a simple word of it, like the,
is this, it's like charades, or
I'm having too slow of a day. But it's almost like, this isn't the word, but it's the one that's coming to me. But like, there's like a hypocrisy to it, of like, it almost seems that you couldn't be Christian and Hawaiian at the same time if it was like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like a contrast, or a polar, I mean, dichotomy.
Contradiction. There's the word.
Yeah, there you go.
Knuckles. It almost seems like there would be a contradiction there, but I think it was, I also was reading a lot of the Queen's Diaries, and it was like she would write and do so in such a way that was like celebrating God, but just had a disdain for missionaries. So I guess you can live in that duality of like,
yeah, that's interesting. When you go like way back too, and I know I hear all these things, but I can't like explain them well enough to like for it to make sense. But basically, you know, there's other gods, there's like Pa'ao and stuff like that who brought like human sacrifice and like Christianity and stuff. And I've heard conversations of how before they certain people came, I don't know if it's like Captain Cook, they were already like Christian, or they believed in one true God, something like that. Not all the Hawaiian gods and stuff. So like I said, I can't really explain what I'm trying to say, but I've heard conversations, and I'm the kind where it's like, oh, that makes sense, but then I don't know it. It doesn't stick with me where I'm able to regurgitate it. But like, look into that if you kind of know what I'm talking about. It's super interesting. My brother he can tell you all about it.
Can go off.
Yeah, he can go off about that.
I like that.
Yeah.
I love having those conversations. I was writing like a script over COVID. Like I did two things when I got bored. I started writing scripts of like old Hawaiian legends that took me down all these really cool wormholes into like just different things I didn't even know existed. Like just history. The history of Hawaii is crazy. And fighting. I was doing a lot of boxing. But it was cool. Like all the little things you could get so into of like, what, this was happening, and oh my God, that was happening. Yeah. And it was fun to just like learn more about our history and the kind of history you don't really learn about or hear about.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm not much of a reader, but I would love to just be a fly on the wall back in those days just to see everything that went down. I
also would like to. I bet it's surprisingly similar to what it is now in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I think we like to put our history on a pedestal and be like, we were the most literate nation. We were so great. We had everything figured out. I don't think we had everything. I don't think any country has everything figured out. But yeah, so I'm interested to see like how life actually was. Was it great? You know?
It sure depends on what time too.
Yeah.
What it could even be like to the exact day. Like you could fantasize about being like in Hawaii before all this. Yeah. But then you go when everyone's warring, you're like, I want out of here. Yeah. I want to get out of here. Like everyone's just full warring nation.
I mean, before anybody said, we're just a rock in the middle of the ocean.
That's weird to think about.
Yeah, there's like nothing. Now there's so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see old pictures of Waikiki and everything.
Do you think we'll ever go back to like nothing?
No, it's impossible.
You don't think so?
With all the development.
Like a full...
Oh yeah, if there's like the kind of stuff that Joe Rogan talks about where however we're like so we're actually like, I don't know, 50 years, or there's a real possibility of us going back to the Stone Age if something happens. I'm hoping for zombie apocalypse because I'm into zombies, but whatever it is, I don't know. I got my ideas. I got my nunchucks, so I'm ready to go.
Yeah, what are you doing if there's a zombie apocalypse? Walk me through it. Sorry.
Okay. I've waited my whole life for this question. Okay. All right. So first off,
I thought you were for real. Are you ready? Like, do you have a plan? A zombie apocalypse plan?
Well, like here in Hawaii?
Yeah, like right now.
I just know that I'll survive.
Okay.
I know that. Unless it's the World War Z zombies where they're super fast and we're all dead.
Okay.
But if it's a regular like Walking Dead zombies, I think we're fine.
Okay.
Yeah. First, I have a katana or one of those like sticks that Donatello has in Ninja Turtles, but with blades at the end, of course. And then I would just find my crew. Probably want to get with people who are like hunters and farmers and stuff like that. And like I'm a hard worker, but I don't have the knowledge to do all of that. So I'll help. I'll be the fighter,
Okay.
Because I won't be afraid.
Hey, you're a big guy too.
How
6 feet? You weigh?
Almost 180.
180, 6 feet. Yeah, you can fight on my team.
Yeah, okay. I'm fast.
I'll hunt.
I get injured a lot though.
Oh, okay. That's problematic.
But yeah, I think. So I think about this, like, okay, what would we do in Hawaii? Because we could like go to like the other islands, and I don't think zombies can like go underwater or swim. So I wonder where we'd go. We'd have to,
dude.
I feel like I'll try to do a Costco run, of course.
Nice.
Right at the beginning, but then everybody's gonna be doing Costco
You're
run.
fucked over there, dude. Don't
yeah,
do
and
it.
then
it's like Hunger Games.
Yeah,
don't go in, dude.
Yeah, and then you got to worry about people. That's what you have to worry about. That's what you have to worry about. You know, because the zombies is one thing, but then people start, you know, killing each other. I would like to think we have the low spirit here, but life and death, I don't know.
Never happening.
But yeah, you definitely want to get somewhere safe where you can, you know, see everything around you and you can't be snuck up upon. But yeah, I would say the biggest thing, get in touch with your homies, try to get with them. But I guess if that happened, we probably won't have communication. So
yeah,
that's the scariest thing, is like you're by yourself. Like, who do you find? Like, you could try to go somebody's house, or I don't know. It's weird to think about it. I just think about it now. I'm just like, dang, how would I get in touch with my family?
I mean,
that's trippy.
Yeah, if I were you, I'd try to get back Big Island.
Big Island would be the best place.
Like if you hear, but get on a plane, get Big Island.
Yeah,
because you have a better chance over there.
Yeah,
you're in town, you're screwed.
Yeah, but there's so many people.
I mean, but more so because you got family over there.
Yeah,
but also there's so much land. Like you can go somewhere and like get somewhere where you can feed yourself and be fine and like survive and like live off the land, and you're good.
Yeah, and I think people could start communities.
Yeah,
and like be harmonious.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it would like.
Oh, I'd hit up Justin Lee.
Yeah, I would also.
Everyone's gonna hit him up though.
Everyone's gonna be.
He's gonna be our leader. Parents on Big Island too.
Yeah. We did an episode with Justin Lee.
Nice.
It's actually gonna come out after yours. I'm not sure. Either before.
I'm just sandwiched between two Hamas, Kimmy and Justin, and there's just me.
Yeah, Justin would be a good one. I already got my plan and my crew.
Yeah.
I used to worry. My dad used to be. My dad's got a super cool story. So he taught himself, like he dropped out of high school, never pursued any education, had a family, lived here, ended up working, like he was doing surf lessons, and me and him were actually working surf lessons together. And I remember he started to go to online school. Went to online school, got his all of his credits and everything he needed to get to go to college. Somehow got into Duke. I still don't know how he did. Got into Duke, went to Duke for 4 years, graduated. His wife also went to Duke. His wife is Alana, and she literally like just went with him to support him. And then like a year in, she's like, I guess I'll go to school. And then just gets into Duke Law. And now is like a lawyer at like the top law firm in America. It's crazy. But that is all to be said. They lived all the way East Coast, and I was kind of like, it bummed me out because I'm like, bruh, if something goes bad, you're too far. Like you can't get over here in time, and you're screwed. Like I will never see you again. Yeah. You're probably not going to make it because you don't know how to live over there. Like if I would think about that when I was traveling too. I wouldn't think like zombie apocalypse, but I'd think like COVID shit.
Yeah.
Where like the world shuts down.
Yeah.
And then maybe shit goes sideways. I can't operate somewhere else. If anything goes wrong, as long as it's not like a nuke, like a atomic, like as long as it's not like a nuke hitting Hawaii, I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah.
I have the utmost confidence that it's like, well, me and my friends, we're good. Like we know exactly where we're going. Like we know where we're living. We're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
We all like all my stocking. Like I'm not going to Costco. Like I got my bow and my guns and I'm gonna stock up on 3-prong rubbers. Like that's what my kit looks like.
You got your.
I need 3-prong rubbers. I need water filters. I need a lot of arrows.
See, that's the difference between a sustainable person and me. Is like I'm gonna go grab some protein bars from Costco. You're like I'm gonna get some 3-prongs or whatever, seeds. Like actual things. It's like I'm just asking for the guy to give me a fish. You're like learning how to fish.
That's my dad's always doing jokes. He's like, "Oh, you're a prepper?" It's like actually your whole life is just prepping.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I just.
I never had family that taught me that. So.
My dad was a spear fisherman, so I learned that. How like normally it's like a father-son pass down. Yeah. Hunting, my little brother taught me.
Oh wow!
So he got into it first, and he would like trap pigs. And the first one he ever got, he like had to like shoot it and then hang it up, and then YouTubed how to clean and butcher a pig.
Oh,
And
that's
he
cool.
did the whole thing in like a few hours. It was very impressive. Like, did Ford just teach himself how to hunt? And he's like one of the most capable individuals I know.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just got the sports background. My dad plays sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I played
none of
soccer
that.
in 2nd grade.
I'd probably school you.
For sure.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
joking.
But if there's an apocalypse,
Yeah, you got me there. I could probably run faster though.
probably you got longer legs.
Yeah, but
I'm pretty fast though.
yeah,
We could race outside.
not now. My knees injured. I told you I get hurt.
Oh, you remember when you used to put the slippers on your hands?
Oh yeah, I just did that outside the studio a couple weeks ago, and I got 2 steps, and I was like, ah.
Not 10% faster
Yeah.
anymore.
It's my knee.
Used to
Getting
be all
old.
it was.
Getting old.
Sheesh. Yeah. Well, if you and Zuko, if you guys get on a flight,
Yeah,
Come
we
Kauai.
I think at some point this year we should.
I more meant when
Yeah.
the apocalypse happens.
Oh,
You guys can.
oh,
you can-
and that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
This apocalypse is gonna
Oh,
happen this
next
year.
month?
I hope not.
Sheesh. I hope not too.
If it was like 20 years, I'd be okay with that.
I mean, at some point, this has to fall apart, right?
Actually, but then would you want to be old in the apocalypse? I think like in the next 10 years would probably be the best because we're like still healthy and
yeah. I think that it's my friends love to romanticize it,
Yeah.
and I'll play along, but
Mm.
it would suck.
Yeah, it would suck.
It would suck.
Yeah.
It would not be romantic at all.
Yeah. We'd
It'd
be
be-
stinky.
It'd be all the shitty
Yeah.
scenes from Walking Dead where you're just
Yeah.
like, this sucks.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not the zombie eating part. There's no zombies.
Yeah, but then we got to think about like getting food, scavenging,
hmm
laundry,
Yeah, it's the
Well,
little things. that
brushing
suck.
teeth,
Yeah, it's the little things that suck.
deodorant. That's going to be gone.
hmm
Nobody's going to put on deodorant. Yeah.
Deodorant, that's gonna be
Right?
gone. Yeah, I think about there's the things of convenience that would all of
Yeah.
a sudden be like, you spend a week in the bush, you're like, "Phew, a bed sounds nice."
I know.
And then
Crazy.
it would suck to run out of toothpaste. I never thought about that one.
Yeah.
Just like,
So
"God damn."
never brush your teeth again.
I heard you could brush your teeth. You could just brush them.
Oh, like you don't need toothpaste.
Yeah, you could just wipe them with your shirt or something. You could figure it out. You'd figure it out. And then the world would like still have things in it.
Yeah. But
Like
what if about like the cavemen? Did they have bad teeth? Like,
terrible teeth.
oh, okay.
I think a lot of I'd be curious to know if Zuko was like a young Jamie, we could have him look this up.
I know.
But I think I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people died from like infections.
Yeah.
I know because I guess my only reasoning for saying that is I know that's how a lot of pigs die.
Mm.
Like the old age, because they die of old age. Like everything dies of old age, but it's something. And a
Yeah.
lot of it with pigs is their back teeth rot out and they get an infection, and that infection gets in their brain and they die.
Yeah.
Or they can't chew anymore, they can't eat anymore.
That sucks. I mean, imagine having a cavity that's just super sore.
It sucks.
You just can't get rid of it. He's got pulled a tooth or something.
No fun.
Yeah.
The medicine man, that's someone we don't have in our crew.
Mm.
So if you know any of those,
Yeah. There's a lot of nurses.
Pa'au Pa'au.
Yeah, there's a lot of nurses at F45. Maybe I'll start befriending them just in case.
Smart.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean,
We got some
that's a
more-
great conversation.
Yeah. I always enjoy talking with you.
Yeah, I always
Yeah.
enjoy talking to you as well.
Yeah.
You're a great friend and you do amazing things for the community.
Try to.
You do. And it's an honor to watch you flourish and grow and get better at what you're doing. And it's just the beginning.
I
And you're
know.
inspiring a lot of people. You inspired me
Mhm.
to make this podcast 'cause I had so much fun with you. I was like,
Yeah.
I should do that.
Yep.
And so when I was kind of already flirting with the idea of making this series. And I was like, I should just add a podcast to it.
Yeah. I support it 100% when I share the clips. So just let us know how we can support.
Roger that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll see this guy on my Instagram. Then we'll do like a shared post.
Yeah,
But you got to keep it aloha.
Yeah.
That's all this guy right
Yeah.
here.
No, but as soon as you came on our podcast last year, oh man, we just clicked. Yeah, you just became part of our crew
Yeah.
with, Zuko over there.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
I'm Aang, by the way, in the crew.
Yeah,
If you didn't know,
I think it's fitting.
it's fitting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, mahalo for having me on. I appreciate you.
Oh,
And excited to do more stuff over the next couple of days and hang out.
We're gonna hang out. The episode's already on YouTube, so you can go watch it if you haven't.
Mahalo. Team Avatar out.